Across the ancient world, kingdoms rose and crumbled, their glories lost to the sands of time. But one kingdom claimed it would stand forever, a realm protected not by walls of stone or coffers of gold, but by a legendary brotherhood known as the Warriors of the Eternal Kingdom. Their stories were whispered in hushed tones, tales of soldiers who could not be killed, who fought with the strength of 10 men. Tonight, we journey back into the mists of history to uncover their forgotten battles, their deepest secrets, and the one war that truly tested their claim to immortality. Hidden between towering, cloud-piercing mountains and endless, winding rivers lay the powerful and enigmatic kingdom of eternity. There, everything they knew about the world, about themselves, was systematically stripped away. They were taught to survive in the harshest mountain terrain with nothing but their wits. Beyond physical prowess, they underwent ancient spiritual rituals designed to harden their minds and fortify their souls. He created the Shadow Legion warriors raised in pitch-black dungeons, trained from birth to kill silently, without honor, mercy, or hesitation. They were assassins, not soldiers, taught to exploit weakness and fear. They moved like wraiths, their only purpose to extinguish the light wherever they found it. War, a concept long forgotten in Eternus, was now looming on the horizon. The first strike came without warning. One night, under a black, moonless sky, the Shadow Legion infiltrated the mountain borders. They moved like a creeping plague, silent and deadly. They burned villages to the ground while families slept. They slaughtered border guards before any alarm could be raised. They desecrated sacred sites, leaving a trail of sacrilege and death. For the first time in 300 years, the people of Eternus tasted fear. Panic began to spread like a poison. In this moment of crisis, the Eternal Warriors assembled. They gathered under the command of their leader, the formidable Arik Valen, a man known throughout the lands as the Blade of Dawn. His presence alone was enough to calm the rising tide of fear. He stood before his warriors, his gaze as sharp as his legendary sword, and his voice rang out with unshakable resolve. "If shadows rise against us," he declared, "then we will become the fire that burns them away." The two forces were destined to clash, and their first major battle took place in the split valley of narrow, treacherous gorge, where the slightest sound echoed like thunder. The Shadow Legion moved like ghosts, using the terrain to their advantage, striking from the darkness and melting away. But the Eternal Warriors fought with a strength that seemed impossible. It was steel against steel, fire against shadow. The valley rang with the clash of swords and the cries of battle. Warriors fell. On boats see this, but the legends proved true. The fallen warriors of Eternus rose again, their wounds healing with unnatural speed, their resolve unbroken. Eternus won the battle, but as the last of the Shadow Legion retreated, a darker realization dawned. This was only the beginning. The Vulcan Emperor was furious but intrigued. How did they do it? How could mere men defy death itself? He sent his best spies, not to fight, but to uncover the secret of their immortality. And eventually, Typhoon did Aliano. It wasn't magic, not in the way of spells and incantations. It wasn't the blessing of distant gods. The secret was a sacred spring, hidden in a deep cavern beneath the Temple of Dawn. Its waters, pure and shimmering, were believed to grant impossible healing and legendary stamina. This spring was the lifeblood of the Eternal Warriors, the source of their power. The Emperor now knew. If the spring fell, Eternus would fall with it. He planned a final, overwhelming attack aimed directly at the heart of the kingdom. At sunrise, the assault began. Tens of thousands of shadow soldiers stormed Eternus, a black tide crashing against the golden gates. The sky darkened with a storm of arrows. Fire engulfed the city's iconic walls. Commander Auric led the Eternal Warriors into their greatest and most desperate battle. They fought through burning streets, their silver armor stained with soot and blood. They formed living walls to protect fleeing families. They held the line, a desperate defense to guard the path to the sacred spring. But the sheer numbers of the Shadow Legion were overwhelming. They pushed deeper and deeper into the city. At the entrance of the Temple of Dawn, the last line of defense, Auric made his final stand. He was bleeding from a dozen wounds, exhausted beyond measure, and hopelessly outnumbered. But he refused to fall. His every movement was a testament to his unbreakable will. As the Shadow Commander approached for the final blow, Auric gathered his last ounce of strength. His final words echoed in the chaos. "As long as one warrior of Eternus stands, the kingdom lives forever." With one final, heroic strike, he took down the Shadow Commander, and the heart of the invasion was broken. Eternus survived. The remaining Shadow Legion, their leader, lost, broke, and fled. But the price of this victory was heavy. Many Eternal Warriors had fallen in the defense, their lives given to protect the spring. Among them was their commander, Auric Vallon. He had given everything for his kingdom. In his honor, his battle-worn armor was placed at the temple entrance, where it remains, untouched, for centuries. And so, the legend was born. They say that whenever danger approaches Eternus, whenever the kingdom needs its greatest protector, Auric's spirit awakens within the armor, and his sword glows once more with an ethereal light. This is the legacy of the warriors of the Eternal Kingdom. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of our next exploration into the forgotten tales of history.